He who wears the mask of perfection walks atop an abyss of loneliness. Lao Tzu. From childhood, Tenzin had learned to hide his weaknesses because of his father, a strict leader of the local community who valued perfection above all else. A man who cannot control his emotions is like an overflowing river, causing destruction wherever it goes, his father would often say, looking at Tenzin with disapproval whenever he showed vulnerability or uncertainty. His father only shook his head and said, "You will never be worthy of facing the world if you don't learn to be strong." He was disciplined and dedicated to the spiritual path, but he carried an invisible burden, the fear of being vulnerable. Since childhood, he had learned that exposing weaknesses was like cracking a sacred vase. This fear isolated him, even among the brothers of his monastery. He feared that revealing his doubts and fears would make him seem incapable of attaining enlightenment. One day, his master gave him an unusual mission to cross the great abyss of silence, a chasm separating the known from the unknown. "This bridge only appears to those who sing of their weaknesses," said the master, handing him a scroll with the words, "Broken glass is stronger than the intact." When Tenzin reached the abyss, he hesitated. There was no bridge in sight. Feeling defeated, he heard a soft melody. A luminous spirit sang of scars, mistakes, and breaks, revealing how vulnerabilities had shaped its strength. Inspired, Tenzin began to sing. His trembling voice spoke of his fears, doubts, and loneliness. As he confessed, a glass bridge emerged, glowing with a bluish light. Upon crossing, the spirit explained, "Your weaknesses connect you to the world. Without them, you would be like an empty glass." Back at the monastery, Tenzin shared his journey with raw honesty. He spoke of how embracing his cracks had set him free, teaching that vulnerability is not weakness, but a bridge to deeper connection. His words rippled outward, igniting courage in hearts worldwide. Dare to reveal your cracks. They are the marks of battles fought and survived. In sharing them, you forge bonds that transform brokenness into strength, fear into unity, and silence into light. Let your story inspire the world. Tenzin's journey across the glass bridge is more than a tale. It's a mirror. How often do we, like him, hide our fractures, fearing they'll make us unworthy? His father's words? "A man who cannot control his emotions is like an overflowing river," echo a universal lie. That strength means never stumbling, that perfection is the only path to belonging. But the luminous spirit song reveals a deeper truth. My cracks are my strength. What if our vulnerabilities aren't flaws, but the very things that bind us to one another? This channel grows not just through stories, but through you. When you subscribe, like, or share, you're not just supporting content, you're passing a lantern to someone still lost in the fog. Click subscribe below, and let's keep these bridges building. P.S. For those ready to go deeper, check our pinned comment for a free mini guide on ancient practices of silence and clarity. Tools to help you hear your own song beneath the noise. You're not alone. Together, we turn cracks into constellations. We live in a world that prizes polished surfaces. We edit our struggles out of the frame, silence our doubts, and wear masks of certainty, just as Tenzin did. Yet beneath that armor, haven't we all felt the weight of isolation? The fear that if others saw our stumbles, they'd turn away? But here's the revelation. It's in the sharing of those stumbles that bridges form. When Tenzin sang his shame aloud, the glass beneath his feet grew solid. Those glowing cracks weren't signs of weakness. They were proof of a heart learning to hold itself and others. So how do we begin? Start small. Whisper your truth before you shout it. Tell a friend, I didn't handle this well. Or write down a fear you've buried. Like Tenzin's shard of glass, these admissions become talismans, reminders that what we once hid can now connect us. I remember the first time I admitted I was drowning in self-doubt. The person across from me exhaled and said, "Me too." In that moment, the abyss between us vanished. Ask yourself, what fracture have I been taught to hide? The childhood criticism that still stings? The mistake you've never forgiven yourself for? Now imagine holding it up to the light, as Tenzin did with his glass. Would it really shatter you? Or could it, like his bridge, become a path to someone else's me too? The monk's transformation into the monk of the cracks holds a quiet revolution. Our scars are not just wounds, they're maps. Maps to deeper empathy, to resilience, to the unexpected places where light slips through. Rumi once wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Tenzin's story teaches us that it's also where the light exits, guiding others home. This isn't just philosophy, it's practice. Today, try this. Name one crack, a fear, a failure, an imperfect feeling. Share it with a journal, a trusted voice, or even the sky. Watch how it transforms from a burden to a bridge. And if you're reading this thinking, "But my cracks are too deep," remember, glass is fragile, yet it can span chasms when layered together. Your voice matters. Your story matters. The very things you've been taught to hide might be the keys to someone else's liberation.